Okay, so today we're going to be making a perspective drawing. So I'm going to use online, I have Clip Studio Paint to show you. Imagine this being a box that you're working in. So I'm just going to draw, whenever I start some type of panel that I have to draw something in, I will draw the character first. So imagine just having some specific character and they're just walking, some basic character. And I'll try to not think about this too much, about the actual character. But here's the character. So I'm just going to have them walking down a street. So this is kind of the angle I'm starting with. So I'm going to say that my vanishing point is probably going to be about here. So all of my horizontal lines will go back to this vanishing point back here. So if it's a fence, all the top parts of the fence would go back. Notice this would all go back. And if there was some type of a building back here, that all parallel lines go back to it. Top of a window, all going back to this point. I'm adding maybe another building. All simple. If there was a larger building, it would all come back also. This is all one point perspective. If you're going to do a sidewalk, you'll keep it horizontal with this area here. Goes all the way back. And then once you have the character in it, then you start doing all your detail work and all the different things you would do. It's just a basic little one-point perspective. If you also wanted to, you could draw closer images of characters. Imagine them just sitting somewhere. Gonna have to do it like this, so it's a simple character, and they're just sitting, but they're gonna sit on some kind of a couch or something. So the point would probably be here, and I'm trying to make the box behind them. This is kind of a 2-point perspective because I'm going back in the opposite way and then over here to this one. But this is most of the way that I would do something like this. You build your perspective around the character so that they're just kind of sitting there. And the perspective is kind of secondary. It could be in a room, and you don't think about it, but it all kind of makes sense. Window in the background, all going to the point. This is the point. All those lines, all those little bits have to go back to that point if they are parallel lines. And then you would just go and do your finish. Okay? So what I want all of you to do is you're going to do 6 separate 5" by 5" boxes. So on a page, whatever the page is, imagine having 6 of these. Well, actually, if you don't have that 12" by 18" paper I gave you, just make sure that these are 5" by 5". You could do it on 2 pieces of paper. I'm kind of looking for 6 of them that you're going to do. Take a ruler out and then just set up what you want your character to do. You could use your panel designs like we did before. And then you're just simply putting things into perspective. If they're standing on a corner, or if they're walking down a street, or if there's a car going down a street. Remember, this is going back, and you're just sticking by your ideas of perspective. We are still just doing cartooning, so you know how I feel like I want some kind of a character to be used in there somehow. I don't want it to be just about making something look like it's in perspective. Add something, whether it's, Godzilla or something in a background that has all these buildings, but remember, they're all kind of going back to a point, and you're still showing yourself that you understand how to use perspective in those panels. I've added a couple of different videos here that you can look at that you'll be able to do, but this is all I'm kind of doing is trying to get you comfortable within that box, but putting perspective in it. Because linear perspective is one of the big things you can use. If you want to, you can try to do some atmospheric perspective too. So I'll show you an atmospheric piece. So that we use atmospheric perspective for a lot of things. But imagine just some kind of a characters in the front again. Just a character. An atmospheric perspective is if you're not necessarily using lines, it tends to be color or shape. So let's say that there is a mountainous background back there. And sometimes people will use 2 things, like maybe there's a sign or something like that, or there's all kinds of ideas wherever it would be. But atmospheric perspective doesn't need to have a point. There's overlapping. Everything looks like it's in perspective because it's going back in space. There's overlapping of mountains. If you were coloring this, the mountains might look blue instead of brown or something. But we're just doing things in black and white. So this is kind of how you would set them up. Okay, so I'm looking for 6 separate 5" by 5" boxes that you're drawing linear and atmospheric perspective in. Try to do most of them linear, 1 point or 2 point. And look at the other videos to show you if you're having any problems creating any of those. Okay, thanks.